A very good evening to you all and welcome from me, RUKIDI KIJJANANGOMA, to News Tonight here on UBC TV this Wednesday, the 27th day of May 2026. But first, let's have a look at what's making headlines at this hour.
The news headlines are brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
News tonight, Uganda closes border of the DRC as an emergency measure to control the spread of Ebola virus. There are emerging reactions after President Yoweri Museveni released the NRM's 7th term cabinet list. The State Minister designate for local government, Namere Justin, warns local government on corruption. And the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Mubaje, and happy Muslims have few cabinet positions.
Were brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. Now, the Mufti of Uganda, Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, has expressed dissatisfaction with the new cabinet which was released by President Yoweri Museveni last evening, citing that Muslims were given very few positions. He was leading Eid al-Adha prayers at Old Kampala National Mosque. We have more in this story.
Muslims from Kampala and surrounding turned up for Eid al-Adha prayers at Old Kampala, led by the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje. The sermon was delivered by the second Deputy Mufti of Uganda, Dr. Sheikh Muhammad Haruna Bukenya, who urged brethren to slaughter animals and share with the less privileged.
We indeed have to cherish the rights of humanity. We need to respect human sanctity. We need to empower ourselves to live humanly.
The Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, seemed dissatisfied with the new cabinet list released by the president, saying the allocation of positions was not fair to Muslims.
The whole list has not a few Muslims. On behalf of the Muslims, I request the government to look into the sacrifice and the support which was raised by the Muslims, because they supported a small slice. It's not enough. A small slice is not enough. We need more. We need more.
Mubaje also warned individuals and Muslim leaders involved in organizing Hajj pilgrimages against turning the exercise into a business venture.
Those who are heading this program have turned the Hijjah into a business enterprise, that they exploit the Hajjs. That's why Uganda Muslim Council tried to intervene to stop this menace. But they continued. This time with some people representing the government itself. They are also involved.
The Minister Designate for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kamanda, represented the government and urged Muslims to remain united.
I want to encourage each and everybody here to unite with us. Let's unite with Uganda Muslim Supreme Council. Let's unite as Muslims. Let's love each other. Because as we gather here, we are all seated here because we are one person.
Some of the Muslims who attended the prayers shared their messages for Eid al-Adha Day.
aweeko abantu abamulinako oluganda aweeko n'abanaku neighbor n'abalala.
On Eid al-Adha Day, Muslims slaughter animals to fulfill the tradition of Nabi Ibrahim, who was willing to sacrifice his only son, but Allah provided him with a ram instead. The slaughtering of animals continues for 3 days. Crispus Arinitwe, Andrew Sebira, reporting for UBC.
Now, Muslims gathered at the Kivuli Mosque in Kampala for Eid prayers, with Muslim leaders calling for unity, sacrifice and support for the needy in society. During prayers, the preacher of the day encouraged Muslims to embrace the spirit of sharing through giving zakat and helping vulnerable members of society. Saddam Mubali gives us more.
Muslims across Uganda have celebrated Eid al-Adha, one of the most important festivals in Islam that commemorates Prophet Ibrahim's obedience and willingness to sacrifice his son Ismail in submission to Allah's command.
Allahu Akbar. And as we celebrate, celebrations emanate from a number of reasons that today we are here. We have heard the story of Ibrahim. We have read the story of Ibrahim and his son Ismail. The story of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and his vision of sacrificing his son.
The Supreme Mufti Sheikh Muhammad Galabuzi reminded believers that Eid al-Adha is a time to reflect on faith, compassion and obedience to Allah. Prince Kasim Nachibinge condemned the ongoing wars in the Middle East and called for peace and dialogue to end the suffering of innocent people.
But we have to remember our brothers and sisters in different parts of the world where there is turbulence, like in Iran, Palestine, Ukraine, where they have been in a state of war for several months and years. We pray to the Almighty Allah that He gives them sanity as well.
He urged Ugandans to remain conscious against Ebola by following Ministry of Health guidelines.
Here in Uganda, we just wish to join the Ministry of Health in asking all Ugandans adhere to what the Ministry of Health is asking us to do, to wash our hands as we always do. But this time I think we'll stop, also to avoid crowded places so that the scourge does not spread to different people. I want to thank all those people in the Ministry of Health for the good work they are doing to make sure that we are all safe and sound.
Muslims who attended the prayers called upon fellow believers to support each other.
I am kindly requesting my fellow leaders, leadership is not our cause, it belongs to Allah, so we should serve with integrity.
Muslim culture where we sacrifice animals, but we don't just sacrifice for the sake of sacrificing. We sacrifice in repentance, we sacrifice in sharing with other people, those that cannot afford the food, those that cannot afford joy in their homes. We sacrifice animals and we share with them, we share joy and happiness with family, friends and neighbors.
I'm Nafka Farida and Saddam Mubali.
Now, messages of good character, sacrifice and charity dominated Eid al-Adha prayers at the Nakivubo Memorial Grounds in Kampala. Our reporter, Evan Juko, followed the celebrations.
Muslims around the world gathered in mosques and various places of worship to mark Eid al-Adha celebrations. Muslim faithfuls converged at Nakivubo Memorial Stadium for special prayers and messages centered on faith, sacrifice, unity and charity.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم.
The Eid prayers commenced at 9 a.m. and were led by the area Imam, Fahad Chiayune.
وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها.
In his sermon, Fahad Chiayune urged the faithful to uphold good conduct during Eid al-Adha and dedicated the day to worship and the acts of ibadah.
Allah tusembedde wano tujje tusinze Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tukimanye tulina okumusinza nga tulinga abamulabako newankubadde tetumulaba Allah tulaba emirimu gyaffe gye tukola tulina okubeera nga tugirongoosa nga tugikola ku lulwe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tugenda kuva wano tugende tusale Allah basaasidde abagenda okusala naye mbalamira mu kusala kwammwe okwo muteekemu okutya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tewali mwanadamu kikusazisa mbuzi oba kyonna kyakusobozesezza nomala n'okiteeka ku mitimbagano n'otegeeza abalala nga wosaze. Allah akkiriza tomanyi oba akkiriza kubanga Allah kyatwagaza agamba lan yanaala Allaha luhumuha wala dimaa'uha walakin yanaaluhu ttaqwa minkum. Allah teyeetaaga musaayi yadde ennyama naye ate Allah atwagalamu okumutya.
Muslims were urged to observe Eid al-Adha with seriousness, devotion, and a spirit of obedience to Allah.
Ate olwaleero engeri gy'oli olunaku olw'enjawulo olw'okusala ebisolo nabbi yatugamba nti n'ekisolo kyennyini kye tuba tugenda okusala nakyo tukiyise bulungi omale okuwagala akambe omale okwetereza okiteeketeeke oleme kujja ng'okisala n'akambe akatali kasale oba nga tokitunuza mu kibula oba kwegamba okubeera nga tuyisa bulungi oluno olunaku lwa kuyisa bulungi buli kimu kyonna buli omu yenna okutuusa ne ku nsolo zennyini.
Eid al-Adha, also called the festival of sacrifice, honors the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son in obedience to God before God provided a ram instead. It takes place during the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah and it coincides with the annual Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. Amwa Evanjuko for UBC.
We still continue with Eid al-Adha celebrations, and now we move west to Bukonzo, where the Muslim community in Bukonzo County West in Kasese district has thanked President Yoweri Museveni for appointing Dr. Crispus Kiyonga as the new second Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Leader of Government Business in Parliament. While celebrating Eid al-Adha at Chabolocha Playgrounds in Mpondwe, Lubidiha Town Council, the chairperson of Muslim community, Wambale Rashid, noted that much is expected from Dr. Kiyonga in regard to causing development in the area. Take a watch.
As people of Wera, we are so happy that we had the appointment of Dr. Crispus Kiyonga, because we really worked hard to make sure that he goes back to Parliament. As the Muslim community of Konzo West, we feel we have scored highly because our dreams have come true. We thank the President himself for actually appointing our brother and our father to that office, and we pray that Allah gives all the blessings he can so that our brother Dr. Crispus Kiyonga is able to execute his duties properly and in the interest of the people of Kasese, so that where we are today, we can move to another level in as far as development and education is concerned.
Now, the Turkish community in Uganda under the Nile Humanitarian Development Agency has slaughtered over 2,000 heads of cattle countrywide this Eid al-Adha. The chairman and board at the Nile Humanitarian Relief Development Agency, Haji Isa Chiradida, says they want to share when they want to share, it is very possible due to the peace and stability ushered in by the NRM government.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Eid al-Adha is the biggest carbon operation in the Islamic calendar. The Muslims under the Nile Humanitarian Development Agency have slaughtered 2,000 cattle for distribution during Eid al-Duha festival. Eid al-Duha is a festival of sacrifice in memory of Prophet Ibrahim's sacrifice of son Isaac in obedience to Allah.
So on this day, he took his son Ibrahim in the mountain where our brothers now are performing the rituals to sacrifice his son. He tried 3 times to slaughter the child. The knife refused to slaughter. It was God's blessing.
The chairperson, Nile Humanitarian Development Agency, Issa Chirarira, says the celebrations of Eid comes when Ugandans are celebrating the achievements of the NRM government.
This Eid is so special. We are seeing His Excellency the President, who has protected the interest of all Ugandans, announcing the cabinet. And this coincides with Eid. Given the lessons drawn from Eid, if it is implemented by these leaders whom the President has put in place, I believe Uganda is on the correct line. I want to send special greetings to His Eminence, the Mufti of Uganda, and the entire Muslims, wishing them a happy Eid.
On this day, Muslims who can afford slaughter animals and share with family and friends and those in need.
At the Nile Humanitarian Development Agency, we will not let down Ugandans. We will continue lobbying for them to make sure that they celebrate Eid in a huge way.
For over 10 years, the Nile Humanitarian Development Agency has been providing meat and other relief items to families to celebrate Eid with dignity.
Now, the Muslim community converged at Nachivubo Blue Primary School to celebrate Eid al-Adha with Mwalimu Haruna Muhammad Kasuja leading the prayers and delivering a passionate sermon urging national unity, peace and development as Uganda embarks on a new chapter with its newly elected leaders.
In his sermon, Mwalimu Kasuja emphasized the importance of peace, harmony and development, praying for the nation's continued progress. He also urged the newly elected leaders for the 2026 to 2031 term to prioritize unity, collective effort and the welfare of citizens.
Era ndowooza akyatuterese mpola mpola kyekyo kyenyinza okujjamu kuba nawuliddeko nga bagayitamu lukwakwayo naddala ku mawulire gamu agesaawa 3 gabadde ganya ndowooza naffe naga nti negundi naye asembireko wano mpola mpola ngeri eyo nga bwe yalowoozaako abalala mu ngeri enyi gyalowoozamu abalala ntegeerekese gavumenti yonna eteri kabineti eno yalwalirwa wabula okuva ensiru yabaawo amazima n'obwenkanya. Amazima n'obuki n'obwenkanya.
Mwalimu Kasuja commended acts of kindness, charity and community service, encouraging stakeholders to continue supporting such initiatives. He further appealed to parents to instill Islamic values and principles in their children, promoting a sense of compassion, empathy and social responsibility.
Kyembasibirira kyekyo kye nandisibiridde n'abataalondeddwa nti singa bali babalondeddwa bagoberere emigaso gy'abantu bebalina okuweereza bayitibwa bannayuganda oba n'abatali bannayuganda. Buli muntu yenna oba munnayuganda oba si munnayuganda abafunemu omugaso nga bakozesa obwenkanya n'obuvunaanyizibwa okutuukiriza ekyo kyabalondesezza.
As prayers concluded, worshippers left Nachivubo Primary School with a renewed call for unity, integrity and investment in the next generation. Robert Katamba and Mike Bakabulindi reporting for UBC News in Kampala.
So, inshallah.
Muslims from different districts across the country have celebrated Eid al-Adha with the main message from the sheikhs who led prayers urging people to maintain standard operating procedures to prevent the spread of Ebola disease. Some congratulated members who were appointed as cabinet ministers also prayed for unity, peace and a corruption-free country. We have more in this story.
Allahu Akbar,
سمع الله لمن حمده.
Hundreds of Muslims gathered at Mvule Crescent in Jinja City to celebrate Eid al-Duha. While addressing the faithful, Dr. Hussein Bowa, the Assistant Mufti in charge of the Busoga region, commended President Museveni for his efforts in fighting corruption in the country.
But we say that let us not stop at just one person, because we feel that there are so many. There are so many like that one. So let the government continue. Let the government continue.
In Bunyoro region, during Eid al-Duha prayers at Hoima Boma grounds, District Kadi Sheikh Rajab Mugenyi urged Muslims to promote and maintain peace, unity and development. Uthman Kadiri Jr., the Hoima district chairperson, congratulated the Muslim community upon the Eid al-Duha and appealed to them to follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Health on preventing Ebola.
Mostly to us in Hoima district, in Hoima city, in Chukube, who are neighbors of Congo, where the virus is spreading rapidly. I do call upon all Muslims and community members to maintain the standard operating procedures.
At Kagadi Main Mosque in Kagadi district, Sheikh Muhammad Isingoma, the district Kadi Chivale Muslim district, has urged Muslims to work as a team with other stakeholders in the fight against the spread of Ebola through following Ministry of Health guidelines on prevention.
I want to encourage you to follow standard operating procedures. Let's not have marches as we used to do during this occasion, and let's not limit our visitations. Let's celebrate Eid from our areas, and we contain that Ebola.
Over 300 cows have been slaughtered in Amdat district to celebrate Eid al-Duha. Meat was given to local residents, schools, barracks and civil servants.
Our base is to distribute this according to the number of villages we are having around the town council and the nearby villages. Actually, we've managed to do all these things through the support of Santuri Itle Santuri.
The distribution was led by Hassan Santa of Santul Business Link Limited.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Muslims in Busia district gathered at Madiriba playground in Busia municipality for Eid Mubarak prayers. While presiding over the prayers, Busia district Kadi Sheikh Juma Jamil Obandio called for unity, peace and observancy of SOPs amidst Ebola. The Muslim fraternity prayed for a better Uganda, peaceful and free from corruption. Meanwhile, a non-government organization from the Turkish government based in Busia district donated over 800 heads of cattle to the Muslim community from within Busia and outside for slaughter.
Allahu Akbar.
Now those were celebrations that happened across the country. And now let's come back to central Uganda, and we go to Kawempe at Mbogo Mosque and see how things happened there as Muslims celebrated Eid al-Duha.
Allah.
Muslims gathered at Mbogo Mosque grounds in Kawempe for Eid al-Duha celebrations in an atmosphere filled with prayers and unity. The prayers were led by Sheikh Bukenya Shulaim.
Allahu Akbar.
In his sermon, Sheikh Bukenya Shulaim called upon Muslims to let go of anger and hatred and promote forgiveness and peaceful coexistence.
Kyetunnyonnyodde abasiraamu kwe kubeera nga ekisookera ddala omulimu omukulu olwaleero kuyiwa musaayi kusala bisolo ku lwa Allah. Ensonga endala tukuutidde abasiraamu okubeera nga babeera kimu, okwagalana n'okusonyiwagana.
Kawempe North MP Arias Luimbazina Lukola urged Muslim families to avoid irresponsible parenting and educate their children.
When you produce your child, it's your responsibility to nurture, to educate that child, to guide that child, to make sure that that child grow into a responsible citizen. That is my message to all Muslims. Yes, it's good to have many children, but those children must be of importance to the communities, to the societies.
muyisirize okutendereza Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lunaku lwa kutendereza n'ennaku endala eziddako.
Hapo masjidi Sukubakuba to extend our gratitude to all those who have been given various responsibilities, to congratulate His Excellency, the President of Uganda, to also congratulate members of Parliament and other local leaders who were elected and who have been sworn in, and wish them the best, inshallah.
All Ugandans, on behalf of the National Chairman of the Might Movement, His Excellency Kaguta Museveni, we wish you a happy Eid al-Adha to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Please stay calm. His Excellency has provided us with lots of cows. You know, he's good at what? Cattle rearing. So he gave us some cows. We thank you so much.
Meanwhile, at Masjid Shuwab in Kawempe, prayers were led by Sheikh Ali Mutiaba, who reminded Muslims to sacrifice, citing the story of Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son. He encouraged Muslims to uphold the spirit of sacrifice and obedience.
Masjidi ezimbwa Mukama wafuna Muhammad sallama yalaga nsanawa assurance nti man bana lillahi masjida bana lahu Allahu baytan fil janna Mungu agenda okuwa obiri mu janna.
He also advised Muslims to avoid selfishness and love one another and support the needy in their communities during this festive season.
Bami mmwe mulabire bakyala bammwe bakyala mmwe mufe ku babba bammwe mutabafeeko. Wano mu kibuga waliwo obwana obuwala bwetega kakeera ku makya ne kaleeta ekyenkye omusajja ne kamubuuzaako n'okumulera ne kamulerako gwekowogana woganya nomidi.
Ekiddako kiki kwogera ku Allah kazikirikum abaukum aw ashaddu dhikra mbaina najiwakum sadaka. Tulina wano masjidi Shuaib al-Birri wa Taqwa ku Kataka Kawempe mailo 5. N'olwekyo masjidi eyo tugizimba nga bwe mugiraba tugizimba obwetaavu tubulina twagala cement twagala omusenyu twagala emitayimbwa. Bobanga olina kyolina oyagala kumaliza kizibu Allah muwe na yakuwe.
The Secretary for Administration and Human Resource at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council headquarters at Old Kampala, Haji Yazid Katurebe, has urged all Ugandan Muslims to participate in government development programs. Haj Katurebe was addressing Luwero Muslims at Kasana Town Main Mosque during Eid al-Adha prayers.
We do slaughtering as we are hoping or following the way how Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam did when he sacrificed on this day, and he said if he had a child he would also slaughter him. Then we share that meat which we slaughter because Islam is a religion of humanity.
We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank His Excellency the President and even the new speaker that they have embarked on fighting corruption. The House has been on top of corruption in the country, and even the President has said numerous times that I have information that there is corruption in the Parliament of Uganda. Today we thank the President that he has touched on those strip-seekers, the people who are embezzling resources meant for the country. This Sisanja is going to be to fight corruption, to give accountability to the country. And as religious leaders, we are very, very happy to hear that the government is going to tackle on that problem. And we call upon the President to stick to that because it has promised so many times that it's going to touch on those untouchables. But this time around we have seen that the untouchables has been touched.
The Imam circles, which have also been initiated at the headquarters with the support of the government, the Muslim women circles, the Imam circles, the youth circles. I've also talked about administration in Islam, which is also an important factor in the management of Muslim affairs. I've also encouraged Muslims to support government programs like the Paris Development Motto and the other many government programs so that they can be developed with other Muslims in the country at once.
Assalamu alaikum.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mu mutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, enendungu ya kusabula. Mikono free of fire, free of fire, free of fire.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
Alright, listen up. Colgate is on a mission. It's kind of a big thing. Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
Colgate Charcoal Gentle Clean cleans and polishes teeth for a whiter smile and a naturally fresh and clean mouth. Choose natural. Choose Colgate Charcoal.
In a fast-moving world, why are we still stuck with paperwork? Signing here, stamping there, moving from office to office. It's exhausting. Now, there's a better way. With UGPass, you can securely prove your identity, sign documents, and access government services anytime, anywhere. No delays, no stress. Everything is instant, safe, secure, and government-backed. UGPass, your identity secured. Available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. UGPass is a product of NITA Uganda.
Welcome back from that break. Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, Uganda has temporarily closed her border with the Democratic Republic of the Congo as an emergency measure to contain the spread of Ebola virus. The National Task Force announced this in Kampala. Dorcas Kimono reports.
Temporarily closing the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo with immediate effect.
Uganda has closed the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo to halt the spread of Ebola virus. 7 cases have so far been reported. The permanent secretary at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Atwini, said that as of May 27th, no new Ebola cases had been registered, though the number of contacts linked to the previous cases increased.
Most of these contacts are health workers because they were getting it from the one source. The total number of cases as per now is still at 7. And our initial index case that had died.
So, government has announced a temporary closure of the border with the DRC with immediate effect. The resolution follows a meeting of the National Task Force chaired by the Vice President Designate Jessica Alupo.
The only exceptions are for authorized Ebola response teams, the humanitarian operations, food and cargo transportation, and security, but all this still will be under the strict health screening and monitoring protocols across the border.
The Immigration Department has been directed to restrict all movement across the border except for personnel under the Rapid Response Cluster.
Immigration Authority is directed to permit only authorized Ebola response teams, humanitarian operations, food cargo transportation, and the security, even when it comes to air transport.
Even those permitted to cross will be required to observe self-isolation for at least 3 weeks.
But we shall do strict supervision of that isolation, and this applies in Kampala and also in all districts, especially the border districts where a lot of movements have been taking place.
Education institutions along the border will remain open, but government has advised learners commuting from DRC to stay away.
The day scholars who are coming from DRC, once we close the border, those students will not be able to come apparently because they are not exceptions. Only the exceptions are on humanitarian, health workers, security, and cargo. So if there are students coming through every day, unfortunately, the closure of the border will affect them definitely. School authorities are directed to identify all students that have come from DRC and have come in the school, especially for boarding schools. And these students must be monitored in terms of temperature taking daily for 21 days.
Ministry of Health has called upon security teams led by the RDCs to enforce compliance at community levels. Media houses have also been asked to dedicate at least 30 minutes daily to public sensitization.
If you work at a radio station, if you work at a TV station, if you are a radio presenter, you have a duty of care to make sure that you communicate to your audience the fact that they need to be careful.
By May 27, 2027, Uganda had recorded 7 Ebola cases. The public is urged to observe standard operation procedures, report any suspected cases immediately, and adhere to preventive guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Away from that, mixed reactions continue to emerge after President Yoweri Museveni released the cabinet list in the 2026-2031 NRM 7th term. The Director, Center for Constitutional Governance, Zara Birete, cites gender imbalance and misallocation of competence in the new cabinet. She says the new cabinet exhibits slight improvement in terms of experience. Daniel Mugoya reports.
The cabinet list is a slight improvement from the outgoing cabinet in terms of experience, competence, but also representation. However, the cabinet is too big We have remained at 81 ministers, yet the Constitution provides for 46 or slightly above 46. So the framers of the Constitution never envisaged the cabinet beyond 50.
President Yoweri Museveni took Ugandans by shock on Monday night after releasing the cabinet list for 2026-2031, making a slight change in the previous phases, but maintaining an element of familiarity. Tongues are wagging, questioning the tone used in selection.
We have about 3 to 4 members of the proposed cabinet that have lived abroad for several years, with families abroad, with some with marriages of citizenships of other countries, and we suspect that these people could have taken up citizenship of these countries where their families are basically, premised.
In the recent 2024 National Population Census report, 51% are women, having outnumbered men by over 1.2 million. This is a basis that the Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Governance, a civil society organization, Sarah Birete, says was miscalculated to determine gender balance in the governance of the country.
So the majority, this majority should be represented, and in the minimum circumstances, we should be seeing a 50-50 situation of male and female at all leadership levels. It's also important to underscore the fact that we have no lady in the leadership of the judiciary. We have 2 male leaders, Chief Justice and Deputy Chief Justice, and the same is at Parliament.
This also brings the question of what the President envisaged in fronting the names listed in the new cabinet.
He did mention that he wants people who can work, and if he visits any constituency and finds the people are poor, he will fire the minister. So maybe that's what he's looking for. And some offices require experience. Some instances require institutional memory. Some assignments require the historical mission.
The President has appointed Sam Mayanja Attorney General. Dr. Sarah Birete thinks the move came after few hiccups which challenged the outgoing AG, Chirowa Kiwanuka, now Minister-designate for Defense and Veteran Affairs.
Conduct and a few of the issues could be listed. One is a failure to execute the implementation of the Supreme Court decision on trial of civilians in court-martial. The second issue he failed to resolve is the issue of missing persons. And of course the manner in which he presented the Protection of Sovereignty Bill that was even denounced by the President. The President said that's not his bill.
Birete calls for strengthening of NGO operations to give room for checks and balances in government.
We also expect no corruption, like the President said, and teachers to be resolved. We expect issues of intern doctors to be resolved. They shouldn't be carried forward to ensure that nobody violates the rights of NGOs and NGO actors outside the confines of the law. It's only then that the NGOs will check the excesses of government.
Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has appointed a new cabinet with new faces, portfolios and responsibilities. The public seems to put attention to how the new team reflects regional balance, gender inclusivity to deliver the NRM Manifesto 2026 to 2031. It is a target set to implement a development agenda, as we hear in this story.
The appointment to the new cabinet projects an image of government seeking to consolidate stability while preparing for implementation of an ambitious development agenda. The cabinet has more women. Several female leaders now occupy strategic ministries and senior dockets, reflecting gender inclusion and political empowerment. For supporters of government, the appointments signal growing recognition of women's contribution to leadership, policy implementation, and national development. The cabinet also reflects an effort to maintain regional balance. The central, northern, eastern, and western regions all secured representation in key ministries linked to governance, social services, and economic transformation. Northern Uganda has a notable visibility. Eastern Uganda retains strategic influence as the western region continues to play a major role in sections many consider critical to maintaining stability and continuity.
I, Nabanja Robina, being appointed Prime Minister of Uganda.
The ambition of experienced leaders and emerging faces could provide institutional memory and renewed energy in government. Several ministers remained in the cabinet are viewed by supporters as experienced administrators capable of overseeing major government programs and long-term projects. Attention is now shifting towards implementation of the NRM manifesto for 2026 to 2031.
I, Namuganza Persis Princess, being appointed a Minister of Uganda.
The manifesto outlines government priorities including industrialization, infrastructure development, wealth creation, job expansion, and economic transformation.
We need close monitoring using all sorts of groups, technical, security, political, to monitor this corruption. And when they get the corrupt and evidence is there, let them be brought to book, even if it's me.
Government is also targeting increased investment in agriculture, tourism, ICT, manufacturing, and youth empowerment as part of Uganda's broader economic growth strategy. Analysts say successful implementation of these priorities will require coordination, discipline, and consistent supervision across ministries. And that is where many believe the newly appointed cabinet could play a crucial role. The combination of political experience, regional representation, and gender inclusivity is being viewed as an attempt to build a team capable of mobilizing national support around government programs. For many Ugandans, expectations now rest on visible results: roads completed, jobs created, industries expanded, and public services improved. The political significance of cabinet appointments lies in translating national plans into progress for citizens. I'm Nafka Farida and Henry Okrut.
Now, the Minister of State designate for local government, Justin Nameri, has warned local government ministry officials that she will not tolerate corruption tendencies once she assumes her role in office. She was talking to our reporter, Robert Onyango, in an exclusive interview.
The Tuesday night cabinet list has thrown the appointed members into public celebrations as many jubilate this milestone.
Express my gratitude for the opportunity I have been given by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. I wish to really thank him for the appointment, for the kindness he has given to Kisoro people. It's a golden chance we've been given. I thank him a lot, and I want to thank also those who worked with him along to select the cabinet.
Among the notable is the current Minister, Right Honourable Robert
okusiima obutawuliriza ŋŋambo. Ebintu byonna bibasinga bibadde boogera bibadde bifu. Naye nga obudde obubinyonnyola oluusi bumbula kubanga ndi bize. Naye Mukama wange nsanyuse. Weebala obwesigwa. Weebala okutuwagira. Weebala okuswaza sitaani. Njagala okusiima maama Janet Kataha Museveni.
Budget Minister Kabanda, who in the new cabinet retains a Doctor's Minister for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, is among those who have received the Tuesday appointment with two hands.
President Kaguta Museveni, thank you very much. I want to appreciate, I want to thank him for trusting me. Because if he didn't have trust in me, then he wouldn't have brought me back. But now I'm back. So I'm promising him also to be more practical than I've been. Yes.
Trans to the 2026 cabinet, having been appointed as Minister State for Local Government.
I was going for a political talk show.
She recalls how this news reached her side.
He picked up and he said, "Oh, I'm so happy. I don't know how I will thank the president. If I could see him now, I would give him a piece of chicken. He has made you a minister."
After repeated calls streaming in, Namere says she started at the later note, believing in what was being rumored.
He said, "You go and check the president's account." I said, "Some people even make accounts that look like they are for the president." He said, "No, even other officials are posting."
The young girl from Masaka, who has just entered parliament for the first time, sees this as a blessing from God. Until now, Namere says she hasn't yet believed what has fallen onto her side.
These ones are giving false information. My elections were cheated. My primaries were like a battleground. Out of 201 villages, I had 199 villages, but declaring me was a tug of war. We have gone for the general election. We had to cry for President Museveni for justice. So I didn't think that after all those scars and wounds, coupled with a parliament that has too many people that qualify, I really didn't think that the president would choose me.
She, however, now contemplates at how she will go back to the same office, this time round as a master, not as a servant.
I'm used to interacting with them at that level. Now I'm shocked that they are now saying, "Congratulations, our boss." So life is ironic.
Nevertheless, she is ready for the assignment.
It was very challenging that I was one of the chosen ones. So I keep reminding myself to get ready, and I'm getting ready.
Namere has previously worked as a senior presidential affairs for Greater Masaka.
I can't predict him. I can't read him. So I don't even know what to expect with him. That's why when he sent me to Masaka, he gave me one instruction. "Namere, I don't want to hear anything to do with stealing or dealing."
Looking at the different assignments she has been receiving from the president, she says the writing has been on the wall for all years, only for the few to read it.
The issue of making comments or referring to me and asking me to give some statistics, it wasn't new. He has been doing it for functions in Masaka. It wasn't more like national, but he would come to Kalangala, they tell him there was land grabbing here. We even reported to your senior presidential advisor, Namere.
The most exciting point in this cabinet is the deployment of Justin Namere and Barnabas Gohara in one ministry.
It's high time that patriots got up, whether you're in NRM, whether you're where, and they put things right in this country. We are not going to accept. I'm telling you, if people are telling them to get worried, yet they might as well have a big reason to get worried, because we are not going to accept. It's good Balaam is not easily intimidated. Yours truly, you know very well.
To the government officials in the local government, Namere sends an alert that indeed they are coming to clean up this sector.
So the struggle continues, the fight goes on. We are not going to accept. We don't want to hear of people buying jobs. We don't want to hear of... A hospital must be a hospital without explaining. In fact, we are even going to introduce video reporting. Instead of giving us all this paperwork, you just take us to the women you have said got money. Connivance between the government employees, the technical wing, and the political heads of those cities or those districts. We are aware. I know all that drama.
To her political tormentors, Namere bravely says she holds no grudge with anybody.
People should move on, and we do work. But otherwise, for me, the political tormentors, I leave them to my president, and I leave them to God and to time. So for me, my main focus is on that. The political tormentors should sort themselves and join us and we go to work, and I forgive them.
Her utmost appreciations hails to the President and the appointing authority and to the people of Masaka City.
Thank you so much. I thank you, Maivana Masaka. This position is yours. Some of them were calling me yesterday crying that they have told us the President is going to give you so many soldiers and we won't be allowed to reach near you. I said, no, that's not true.
She assures them that this elevation in life won't change her character and her ways of doing things. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
To Luwero now, where residents of Chichusa Town Council in Luwero district were excited as they celebrated the newly elected mayor and councillors during the swearing-in ceremony. Now, business in the busy town council temporarily came to a standstill as supporters gathered to witness the ceremony to usher in a new political leadership. Mayor Paul Salabwa promised to prioritize decent service delivery in his term in office.
There was excitement in Chichusa Town Council in Luwero district as the elected mayor Paul Salabwa and councillors were sworn in. The ceremony attracted residents, NRM supporters, local leaders and business people.
I will be faithful and bear truth, allegiance, so help me God.
In his inaugural speech, Mayor Paul Salabwa pledged to prioritize service delivery during his 5-year term in office.
So kati ngenda kuyingira nnyo mu masomero ga gavumenti okulaba nga ddala programu za gavumenti zibeera nga zituukana mu masomero ga gavumenti. Ngenda kuyingira mu malwaliro okulaba ddala nga amalwaliro gatuukana n'ekyo kyennyini. Ngenda kuyingira mu makubo okulaba nga tugongerako nago. Tugenda kuyingira mu Paris model okulaba nga abantu bonna bamugaba bulungi, teri kuwaayo nguzi, abantu bonna bagibaganyulwemu. Nsaba bannakikyusa muwe omusolo mu bulungi, si mukakakibwa, nja gukuŋŋaanya bulungi, mbazimbire ebintu byonna ebigenda okuba nga bibongerayo.
Leaders emphasized following the constitution and serving residents with transparency and accountability. The newly constituted council is comprised of 15 councillors from the NRM and the National Unity Platform. NRM cadres and residents were optimistic about the new leadership.
So I feel like this new cabinet is going to bring in a lot of new ideas, and it's going to contribute a lot to the progress of Chichusa Town Council.
He's a good man because on his cabinet he has selected youth, which means the one who is ready to implement and support the programs of NRM progress.
So I urge all of them, the NUPS councillors, the NRM councillors, the independent ones, to work hand in hand with the mayor so that our Chichusa progresses to become one of the best town councils in Luwero.
To embrace the spirit of work and teamwork, because that is the only way they will be able to develop Chichusa as a town council, and they should avoid politics of divisionism.
Ramadan Sesambu voted Speaker and Monica Namatovu was elected Deputy Speaker.
That I shall faithfully exercise the function of the Speaker of Chichusa Town Council, and that I will preserve, protect and defend the Constitution
and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, so help me God.
The mayor later unveiled his executive committee, appointing Tamale Godfrey as deputy mayor, Nakazi Jaria as secretary for finance and administration, Peter Chigundu as secretary for works and production, and Paul Chambade as secretary for social and community-based services.
Business news is up next after this short break.
So, Mutiara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get more goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
Welcome back. Business News Now. And as Muslims around the world have prepared to celebrate Eid al-Adha, hundreds of faithfuls in Kampala flocked to city abattoirs and animal markets to buy animals for slaughter as part of the religious ritual. At the city abattoir, traders say business has been slower compared to previous years, although customers continue to arrive throughout the day.
Muslims across the world are celebrating Eid al-Adha. It honors the willingness of Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail in honor of God's command.
Despite an early morning downpour, Muslim faithful continued thronging slaughter areas across the city to observe the sacred tradition which symbolizes sacrifice, obedience, and charity. At the city abattoir, traders say business has been slower compared to last year, although customers continued arriving throughout the day with the hope that sales would improve.
We have been able to slaughter around 500 heads of cattle. That's what we have been able to slaughter, but we are still slaughtering. Go at a slow pace.
Traders also attribute the slow business to ongoing tensions involving Iran, Israel and US, saying international buyers who usually boost the market are largely absent this season, leaving mainly local customers.
Actually, given that most of the countries that used to give us money during this Eid, especially Libya and maybe Iran and Turkey, they were somehow affected by the war. So now we got very few people who are able to buy cows and feed meat.
Ebyenda biri wansi kye kyamazima atenteza bbeeyi tegeeza nti leero ennyama bagiguze naye tukoledde mu loosi kati nsaze ente 7 ente efunye sente efunyeyo na mitwalo 10 gwokka ng'endala ziri mu mitwalo nga 5 nsaze zonna zisaze.
They also say rising transport costs linked to rising fuel prices have significantly affected animal prices. Goats are selling between 400,000 and 500,000. A sheep costs between 300,000 Uganda shillings and 400,000 Uganda shillings.
The prices are extremely high compared to the last year prices. Now we are selling meat at 16,000, 17,000, given the quality. But we expect the final consumer to buy at 20,000 and 19,000 respectively.
Nesse kusaidia ffe abasuubuzi baguze naye ente za bbeeyi tewali nteevaamu ssente buli omu yenna ali mu miranga olw'ente z'ebbeeyi naye ng'ogula baguze.
Despite the rising costs, many Muslim families were seen flocking to abattoirs to buy meat in observance of the ritual, which remains an important part of the Eid al-Adha celebrations. Crispus Arinitwe, reporting for UBC.
Sports news now. And the Uganda Olympic Committee and Commonwealth Games Uganda have strengthened their partnership with the BRDC to promote sports nutrition and healthy living through the upcoming Olympic Day Tokyo Run. The initiative highlights the role of proper nutrition in improving sports performance and community well-being.
Speaking during the launch of the run in Bushenyi, officials said the partnership is guided by the Olympic values of excellence, respect and friendship.
When we reached out to Toke, which is a homegrown product, highly nutritious, full of very important nutrients, which will help our athletes for endurance, it was a natural partnership, and we're very happy that Professor Muranga agreed, one, that we partner with Toke and Badik, so they will be supplying our athletes with the Toke products, but also she's our nutrition ambassador. She's also giving us guidance on how we can leverage these products to ensure that our athletes are adequately nourished to be able to compete.
This was that proper nutrition is critical in building endurance, improving recovery, and supporting athletes to compete at the highest level.
What we have here as a comparative advantage is that we have brains here, innovations here. We have a full research lab for product development. And the moment we told them we want to do sports nutrition, we have so many new products that are coming up. Some of them we've tested.
Leaders say the products provide nutrient-rich food options that can support both athletes and ordinary Ugandans. The Olympic Toke run that will be under the theme of Move, Learn and Discover for Nutrition is more than a celebration of sport. And for the hosts, Bushenyi is a chance for talent identification. It's also a call for healthier lifestyles, better nutrition and stronger communities.
Well, Bushenyi is a higher altitude district, and to that advantage, as local leaders, we shall want to also gain from this initiative. We shall also try to identify talent from our own children, so that this partnership that will last for 3 and more years can also be of help to our district.
The initiative comes as Uganda prepares athletes for major international competitions, including the Commonwealth Games and Youth Olympic Games in Dakar and the Olympics 2028, whose participants will benefit from the run's proceeds. Officials reaffirmed their commitment to using sport and nutrition partnerships to build healthier and a more competitive Uganda.
John Barnes Sentamo reporting there, and of course that story brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company on behalf of the entire news crew, and on my own behalf we wish you a very blessed night. But do not go away, because up next here on UBC TV is Super Soul Sisters with Oluka Jamila, and that will be followed later on at 10 by Behind the Headlines with Timothy Nyangweso. Good viewing and good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
All right, listen up. RUKIDI is on a mission.